Welcome to Property Sisters Podcast. I am Shay Noonan. I'm a realtor here in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona.
Sadie Risley, Business Development Manager at Chicago Title. This is a place for real estate professionals to evolve,
find success, and grow their businesses.
Welcome back, Property Sisters Podcast.
Round two.
Sadie Risley, Business Development Manager at Chicago Title. And yes, we are actually sisters.
Yes, I have gotten that question so many times. We have to clear that up right here, right now. Yes, we're sisters. I'm the older sister.
Thank you. People get that confused sometimes and I'm offended. Like, she's older by like 8 years. What is this?
Oh, don't tell people that. Yes, I love it. I think it's great. I'm like, yeah, we're totally twins. Totally. Yes, that is how we came up with the name Property Sisters. We are really sisters. We just happen to be in the business, in the industry of real estate.
Together. Fam.
Yeah, and I'm Shay Noonan. I am a realtor and growth leader at Real Broker. And we are so thankful for all the love on the last podcast, the first episode that we filmed. So thank you all for listening to that and tuning back in.
Yes, great feedback. Because we were pretty hard on ourselves after filming it. Or at least I was. Shay was positive.
Yeah.
All right. That's a wrap on January. Crazy.
How are your goals going?
Okay, if I'm being honest, I'm not somebody who does goals. I kind of obsess over them and they don't do well for me. So I will say, reflecting on January, a lot that I'm going to do different going into February. And that's being better with time blocking and not cramming too many things into my schedule and taking more time to focus on me.
Yeah, I love it. I did not accomplish the dry January, and I did not accomplish a whole 30. So
that's okay. I got in here this morning and I'm like, can I drink yet? 11 a.m. Too soon?
Oh man. But we are still talking about goals in our businesses, and that I hit my goals in my business. So we're going to switch gears here, and last week we talked about authenticity and purpose. And if you haven't listened to that yet, go back and listen to it now, because it is important that you do the work on your purpose before diving into consistency. And consistency is what we're going to roll out today, and what that looks like and what that should look like in your business.
Yes, showing up consistently in how you plan and grow your business. I truly believe that if you're not being consistent, you're not showing your community, your family, and your clients that you care or that you take your business seriously. It is important to hone in on those day-to-day routines and do them well.
1,000%. I agree with that. Yeah. That's where you really show up and you show people, this is what I do, and I'm a pro at it, and I'm the expert here. So listen up. And that being said, I think in our industry, there are so many different avenues of where you're expected to show up, or you could show up. And I think you have to stop trying to do all of those things.
Yes.
I think we're pulled in so many different directions. There are so many more marketing options in the real estate world, in the lending world, that we didn't have 2 years ago or 5 years ago. You know, you have social media now is in the mix. That was never something that was a heavy focus before. You have farming is taking on a whole new different look. It used to just be traditional mailers, and now we're seeing things shift to where you're able to do email farming.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to dive into a little bit today. Don't try to do it all. And it's important that you focus on what your goals are for the year and what top ways you're going to show up. And we suggest 3.
Yes. And excuse me, that's even reflecting on my month, a big thing that I lacked. I didn't focus on 3 things. I focused on a lot of things to try to figure out what felt authentic. And though that was a great strategy, it really didn't suit me. So I'm going to wipe my hands of that, move on, and even take our own advice of really what we know works and do that. So with that, pick 3 things, 3 lead generating things that aren't going to feel like a drag to you, that you're passionate about, and go in line with your purpose. Focusing on 3 things is going to make the task more attainable, but also enjoyable.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, that being said, there is, when it comes to consistency, there's nothing in your life that you can just do every once in a while that is going to actually provide results, right?
I think too, you want to be enthusiastic while you do it.
Yeah.
If you're not enthusiastic, people are going to see that. you're not going to attract people, your clients. You're not going to look like a leader in your community. So being able to do something that you care about is what's going to radiate that enthusiasm. You're going to be excited to do it. You're not going to dread it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of think of the gym, for example, right? You don't just roll in once a week and expect to wake up the next day and just see immediate overnight changes. You have to go, and you have to go consistently if you're looking to see change within yourself. And there's nothing that you can do on an every once in a while basis that is going to end with success and growth. And I think there's actually, going back to the gym, there's a sign at my gym that says comfort is a slow death.
It's so true.
And I remember seeing that sign and thinking, what the hell does that mean? Like, it took me a while. It took me a while to process it and understand it. And I think that is so powerful, and it applies to what we're talking about. That at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're implementing and starting, it should be uncomfortable in the beginning with how consistent you are having to be and how much work you're putting into it. It should feel out of your comfort zone. And then from there, it's going to push your boundaries, but it's going to really make you stand out. And it's what is going to be that you're going to get to a point that you've been so consistent for so long with it that it's just going to feel natural. And that is going to be the sweet spot. That is just what you do in your business. And that is just how you show up. And then that's where you're going to start to see the leads and the success roll in.
Totally. And can I say, I think it's important too to find that one thing that is like your bread and butter that you hold on to, that you thoroughly enjoy. And then maybe the other two are things that you're good at, or maybe one of them something you want to nurture a little bit more, but is going to be good for your business because of how it's structured. And that even goes back to the comfort thing.
Yeah.
Get out of your comfort zone and don't get comfortable with those three things.
Yeah. And we're going to break them down a little bit, but we'll just use social media as an example, right? Most people are on social media. They have an account. They have the desire to use it for their business. Mm-hmm. They just don't really know how. And they think, when I say, well, you should be posting on social media 4 times minimum a week, that sounds so daunting.
Yes.
What am I supposed to post? What am I supposed to come up with for content? But that's the example. It's not that you hate social media or you hate the idea of it, but you just don't know how you're going to come up with 4 pieces of content a week. And also, that's where you're pushing yourself, and that's good.
And when you just get started, it can be time consuming. It takes a while to get in the swing of things, but you got to do it.
So with that, we're going to kind of dive into the top 4 ways that people show up in their business through marketing their business. You've got social media, you've got open houses, you have farming, you have your sphere. And those are, I would say, the big 4 that you're going to be choosing from of where you're going to show up to grow your business and generate leads.
Yes. At least 1, if not 2 of them. And a lot of those things are uncomfortable for a lot of people and they sound daunting, but there's a way to make them fun and feel refreshed about each of these 4 lead generating sources.
Yeah. And social media being the first step, I just touched on that a little bit, but if that is going to be something you're going to pour into, and if that is going to be your primary source of lead gen this year, then you need to be showing up, like I said, 4 times a week minimum. And that's the consistency piece, but even then your reels should have structure to them. Your post should have a structure. How often are you posting educational content, funny content, personal content? You need to, once you line that out, it's a lot easier to show up and you have this path forward of what that's going to look like. And the algorithm knows if you just put your post up and you leave, it knows. It wants you to stay and engage and be kind of an active part of the social media community. So if that's one that you're going to choose, dive into it a little bit more. Don't just go, okay, well, I'm going to post 4 times. Like, be authentic with it. Be purposeful with that wheelhouse that you're choosing to use for business growth.
Yes. And we'll dive into this in collaboration, but follow people that inspire you. Mm-hmm. And again, more on that to come, but there's, like I said, ways to make this not so daunting and work smarter with it.
Yeah. Each of these topics are, especially as we were prepping and going through our content, it's amazing how deep each topic is, right? You can really take social media and open houses and go really deep with what you can do with them. This doesn't have to be a boring marketing piece of your business.
Totally.
And open houses is another one. That's one that a lot of people use. A lot of new agents use it as a lead generation source. And you can't just say, okay, I'm going to show up once a week and do an open house and gain all this business. Like, no, that's a 2 to 3 time per week minimum that you should be sitting there, and you should be sitting in open house if that is going to be your number one lead generation source.
And I truly believe, do one massive, awesome open house a month. Make it a freaking party. Be different with it. Make it a block party. Do something, team up with your title person. Again, collaboration. Really excited for that one, but that episode. But there's ways to make open houses different and fun these days. Do it. If you're going to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're going to do one on a Saturday and you have the time throughout the week, you should be going out. You should be door knocking that neighborhood. You should be making phone calls, inviting people. Don't just go put your signs up on the road and just sit there twiddling your thumbs, waiting for somebody to walk into your open house. You have to put the effort in on the front end so that it's successful for you on the weekend.
And can I quickly say too, you can go door knock, throw a frickin' mimosa in your Yeti and go door knock. Bring your dog, bring your kids, make it fun.
Yeah,
Have
I love
a good time. Again, the
like,
enthusiasm.
enjoy what you do.
Enthusiasm is going to radiate to those neighbors, and they're going to be like, hey, I want to come check out that house. Okay.
Yeah, don't hate on the neighbors. The neighbors are really powerful. And for you sitting in open house, that's a big lead generation source for you in that neighborhood.
Not only lead gen, but it's going to help sell the home. People want to see what life is going to be like when living in that property. When you've got your neighbors there attending your open house and staying and hanging out, and you're setting the tone for the environment in that space, everyone's going to be picking up on what you're putting down. And if you're lively and you're energetic, the neighbors are going to join in and do it too. And you're going to sell that home on its own based on the environment that you're creating, and those neighbors are going to help you do it.
Yeah.
They're a big selling point.
Yeah, bring in that energy for sure. And then we're going to go into farming.
My second favorite thing I'm really passionate about open houses and farming right now. I really am.
I am not. I will be honest right now. Farming is not in my top 3 of ways that I generate leads, but I love that you're passionate about this. So I'm going to let you roll with this one.
Yes. 1 time a month for print marketing. Great. So with that, there's multiple ways to farm. And I think what we all think of as farming is a postcard a month, door knocking the neighborhood. And in today's day and age, and with the resources that we have, that is not it. And if you're just doing that, I'm sorry, but you're not going to succeed.
People throw that mail in the trash so fast.
I get pissed when I get those. Now, I think it's powerful if you're consistent with it.
Yeah.
And if you are going to do that, you need to do it for at least a year, every single month, but also show up in that community face to face with your consumer.
Yeah, not just on print. Like, show your face.
Yes. And I like to say, go into it with the attitude of them not being a consumer, but that they're already your clients. You're already targeting your clients. You know these people well. You don't, but hopefully eventually the goal is you're going to.
And with that, I think anytime a house in that neighborhood hits the market, you should be previewing it. You should be going over, if social media is one of your 3 avenues that you're utilizing, you should be filming a reel of the new listing in that neighborhood, because you're trying to portray yourself as the neighborhood expert.
Absolutely.
And so these avenues should all start to tie in together as well. And I think, again, we think of farming as like a print a recipe, print the, Cardinals football schedule and send it out to everybody, and that's cool. But you have to go deeper than that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then sphere of influence. This one's a big one for me. This is your repeat business. This is the friends that you currently have. And it's one of the easiest ones to nurture because you already know these people and you've already worked with them. But again, I think it's one that gets put on the back burner and isn't touched on as consistently as it should be. So are you sending emails? I don't think once a month is enough. If you've never done an email, a newsletter before or anything like that, once a month is fine, I think, to start, but you need to get to a goal where you're doing it 4 times a month. And you don't think twice when Nordstrom's emails you, every other day, and you're still opening it. But why do we overthink emailing the people who trusted us with one of the most important purchases of their lives, emailing them once a week with valuable content isn't really that annoying.
Yeah.
But we just think it is.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's one that I'm really passionate about this year, and I'm ramping up my game on. But I know people that do pop-bys. There are people that love it. Love stopping by, dropping stuff off. I think that's cool. And your social media ties back into this too. Are you trying to pull your sphere back into your social media? Are you trying to capture them and get them over so that not only are you emailing them once a week, but now they're also seeing you show up on social media, and you're just continuing to nurture that connection? I think that is so powerful. Take advantage of it. So for me, at the bottom of every email, I'm linking my Instagram to it. I'm saying, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. And I'm trying to constantly pull those people over to my other channels.
Yeah. And okay, can you drop about the QR code? Because I just found this out and I feel so naive, but how powerful to have your Instagram QR code in those emails.
Yeah. And I can, take it a step further and say, okay, let's just say, I'll use myself as an example. So my 3 are social media and video, sphere of influence, and open houses. Open houses is at the bottom of my barrel, but that is one of my ways that I'm showing up this year. So that being said, every open house I do, every business card I hand out has a QR code that takes you straight to my Instagram. And Instagram already generates this for you. It's in your profile. It's so easy to share and download. You need to be taking advantage of it. So that way, every open house that you're handing out a flyer on the property, but it has your QR code on it, so that you're going, now you came into my open house, follow me on social media, and here's my QR code. It's right there. You don't have to physically say that to them, but right, it's on your marketing.
Yeah.
And so same thing with your sphere of influence. As you're emailing them, in your emails, just pull a content piece over from YouTube and drop it in your email and send it out. It's easy. It really, once you start to get the systems down and you're consistent in these areas, they do all start to tie in together, as long as you're thinking outside of the box and you're being creative.
Yeah. And they start to coexist and work well with each other.
Yeah.
They lift each other up. That's why we do recommend pick 3 things. If you need to just focus on one as you get started because you're overwhelmed, fine. But make that goal to start bringing in 3 lead generating sources that you are working into your business every day, which leads us to time blocking. Outside of focusing on 3 lead generating sources, you need to time block. And that's where you can. So what time blocking is, let's take it a step back.
Yeah.
It is making your calendar your boss.
I love that.
Make
your calendar your boss. That's so true.
Calendar is your boss. You show up for it, you stick to it, and you listen to it. You're going to funnel in these 3 lead generating business sources into your calendar. That can look like blocking out your day by the hour. And so today I'm working on social media for an hour, going to wrap that up, check my emails. I'm going to move on to learning something more about open houses and getting some new ideas. Wrap that up in an hour, get back to my emails. Maybe I have some client lunches I have to get to, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to focus on social media for 3 hours. Or we heard Chelsea Pites, shout out to her, social media guru, talk about this morning how you can time block your days. Focus on one of those 3 things
all day.
If that's how your brain works and that's your style.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to make sure in those in your calendar is your boss. Make sure you're planning out your personal stuff. Make sure you're planning out your workouts. Make sure you're making that time for your family. You don't just throw your life away and work. It's work-life balance is important, but that calendar is going to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable to your work and holding yourself accountable to your personal life and your mental health, and just making sure that you're not forgetting about that too.
Totally. And that's my biggest takeaway from this past month. I did not do that. I crammed every hour. If I showed you my calendar, it gives me anxiety. Every hour was a meeting. And in between that meeting, I had another client I had to call, or a project for that client I had to work on. And I was doing 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and
just too much.
My coworkers were even like, you're going to get burnt out. Don't do it this way.
And I think too, you have to set boundaries.
Yes.
And you're going to get phone calls from lenders who want to take you for coffee. You're going to get phone calls from title reps who want to buy you lunch. And you really have to set your boundaries and say, you know what? I'm good. I like my product partners. I'm not interested. I have more important things to do in my day than to go, as fun as that is, to go have lunch at a cool new restaurant. In that 2 hours of time, you could have planned out an entire month's worth of content for social media.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to routines, which are important in time blocking. What are your routines? What are you making a priority that maybe doesn't need to be, so that you can have a better work-life balance? That doesn't need to be a priority or something that you're doing routinely, consistently. And
I think the toughest part about real estate, probably more so on the agent side, is that when your phone isn't ringing and buyers aren't calling and sellers aren't calling, you have to be self-motivated and you have to be using your calendar to make sure that you are staying focused, because it's really easy to kind of fall off the wagon, so to speak, right? Yeah. And then now you're in chill mode, you're leisurely going about your day, and everything that you should be doing proactively is falling off.
Absolutely.
You're not getting it done. And then well, why don't I have business? Why isn't my phone ringing? Well, what have you done? How have you invested into your business?
What would you say is a good amount of hours per week to pour into your business?
I would say at least 30.
I think at least 30.
At least 30. And if you're on the back end side, right? If you're out showing properties and, you easily can put in 40 to 50 plus hours a week in this business. It's amazing actually where your time goes once you start putting the work in.
Yeah. And can I say, for like newer agents or people who are maybe only 5 years into their career and still figuring out their place in their role in their business and in the community, it might need to be a lot more than 30, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. You'll figure out and learn quick where to prioritize me time and where to prioritize work, but it does get better. And I think you are somebody who can even attest to that. You've been doing it for a while. In the beginning, it probably felt like such a grind and your head spinning, and there's not enough time to get all the things done. And over time, you've learned to maybe let things go. Just say it is what it is. I'm only devoting 30 hours per my time block, and that's that. Yeah. And if I didn't get something done, I didn't get something done. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, with that, that's where the busier you are and the more time you're spending out in the field buying, selling, working physically with buyers and sellers, is where it's important to start collaborating. And that's where we're going to pick up the next episode, is that it is important to now start to delegate stuff out. The busier you are, you can't do it all. And it's important that you have the right people in place that you can say, you know what, I hire somebody, she's amazing, Molly's on, she runs my social media and she makes sure my posts get scheduled, my captions get written, and I am happy to let her take that and run with it because she's really good at what she does, and it frees up time in my calendar to physically create the content and make the videos and do the podcasts, right?
Yes.
And that's where the collaboration piece is going to come in, where don't try to do it all alone all the time.
Yes. And collaboration is going to be our next episode, which kind of ties in to accountability. I think that's really the third point we wanted to make today, was holding yourself accountable with your time block and with your 3 lead generating sources that you're focusing on. And collaboration is going to allow you to be surrounded by people that are going to hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm. And make you better and make you more successful.
Yes.
So we will dive into that on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. DM us if you have any deeper questions. We're happy to always chat more.
Yes, we want to hear your opinions on this and your thoughts. We love all the support. You guys are coming up with a lot of great ideas for us to touch on moving forward, so it's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited. See you next time.